love weekends on Diverse FM.
Hello, my name's Shifa,
and my name is Natasha,
and we're from the Luton Youth Council, and we're on Diverse FM as we are every week.
As we are Thursday, 6 till 7 p.m.
Yes, by now you guys should know the drill. Do we need to reintroduce? Yes, we're going to reintroduce.
Yeah, there may be some new listeners this week, so why not?
Yes, I don't know why we've chosen this week in particular to do this.
You guys are the lucky.
Exactly. My name's Shifa. I'm chair of Luton Youth Council. Luton Youth Council is a collective of 15 young people who represent the voices of young people in Luton. Not rehearsed.
And my name is Natasha, and I'm the vice chair of the Luton Youth Council.
And you're so lucky that you get to hear us talk about the most random stuff ever for an entire hour. But we'll give you guys some musical breaks where you can listen to more Dua Lipa if you would like.
I do love Dua Lipa.
Yeah, she's not bad, is she? Okay, well, we've got a list of stuff to go through with you today. But firstly, Natasha, how's your week been?
My week has been pretty good. This is like, because our school operates on like a 2-week timetable, so this is like my best week. Yesterday I had like 2 lessons. I had like 3 free periods.
Nice.
I was enjoying myself. The only thing I'd say I didn't like about the week is the weather. Especially because I have a dog as well, so when it's raining and I'm like, right, and I have to go outside on a 45-minute walk in this weather, it's not the best. But apart from that, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
What about you?
It's good you brought up the weather because it's May. It's like we're getting like the April showers, but in May.
I know. It's quite weird because spring usually rains earlier on or like closer to winter, but it's like May and I'm thinking June, sun, and it's like, and apparently next week it's going to reach 26 degrees, but today it was like 7, and I'm just, the disparity between the weather in the UK is so weird. It's one of the biggest mysteries as to why the weather is so tumultuous.
British weather has the worst mood swings ever. I don't know why people pick on teenagers and young people. They just look at the weather.
They're like, go outside. My parents are like, go outside, Natasha. Have fun, Natasha. Where? I'm gonna get wet and I have to bring a coat. I literally have an umbrella in my bag all year round now.
So do I.
During summer, winter, spring. Doesn't matter what the season is. I have to carry an umbrella because you never know what the weather's gonna be like.
Okay, look at us complaining about the weather.
We sound like such old people. No offense. And then we are the youth.
Complaining about the weather. Okay, so me and Natasha we've met up quite a lot in the last week.
We have.
Like, they're not like planned meetups other than any like youth council meetings.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, hello on the train again.
Yeah, because we happen to go to like a school in like a similar area, so we just happen to see each other on the train every day. Even today, we came back together.
We came back together.
Why did you forget? You looked at me like, oh, I saw you like 2 hours ago.
I was thinking about my dinner.
Oh, what was for dinner today?
Peri.
Oh, that's good. I haven't eaten just yet. No, I did.
Oh.
I haven't eaten dinner, but I did go to Greg's, so I got a steak bake.
Is that not dinner? I don't know what a steak bake looks like. Is it tiny?
I don't know. It's just like a square full of steak and it's baked, as the name suggests. But anyways,
so it's
guys,
a snack.
It's a snack basically. I apologize for yapping about the weather and my Greg's order for such a while. But today we're going to be first speaking about
police listening circles.
Ooh.
Yippee! What is a police listening circle?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
So it's basically an opportunity in which we're able to speak to members of Bedfordshire Police in this case and kind of express our concerns, maybe things positive outlook on the police, but also kind of communicate the things that we'd like to see them do better.
So during our 90-minute packed session with Beds Police, we spoke about a lot. I'm trying to rejig my memory, I think
a main aspect that we looked at is trust in the police.
Yeah.
Because obviously the police force is incredibly important and they do a lot behind the scenes. A lot of things that we may not actually realise. However, there's kind of a lack of trust in the police with a lot of people. Do you want to go into more depth with that?
I think it's, sometimes I think it's a bit funny that there's a lack of trust in the police. Because initially I think the police force was put into place for protection, not enforcement. But over the years, we've kind of gotten this image into our minds that the police force are for enforcement and they're bad people, when really they just want to, protect you.
Exactly.
But even, as a young person myself, I sometimes find it difficult to think of them as the good people because you hear so many stories about them being the bad people.
Yeah. And that's just not representative of the police force. The police force includes so many different people. It's the police that we see standing out in town. It's the people in offices writing long reports.
Yeah.
It's a wide range of people that work really, really hard to protect young people, older people, people of all demographics, really.
Yeah, so the person that we met from Beds Police on Tuesday was from the Education and Diversion team, which is a team that most people don't even know exist. So the Education and Diversion team under Beds Police, their job is to kind of
prevent young people from entering like the criminal justice system.
Yeah. And I'm not sure actually if their only focus is young people.
Yeah.
Because it's education and diversion, and like many adults also require support with that sometimes.
Yeah, I think we just focus on young people because that's who we are
Yeah.
at the end of the day. I think he also and his team go into a number of schools in
Yeah.
Luton as well, and give assemblies and things like that.
Yeah, assemblies that we're not fans of. Yeah. I wonder if other people feel similar to us about how assemblies go. Because
Yeah, I think it's honestly like a mixed thing. Sometimes assemblies can be really interesting, but it quite depends, because I remember being in high school sitting in an hour assembly. Now I'm not complaining about missing a maths lesson, but at the same time it's important that it's engaging, which is another conversation that we had, that the police does so much but a lot of people don't know about it, because the way that they present their findings, the way that they present their progress isn't always the most engaging for people, and then therefore it kind of leads into that lack of trust in them, I guess, because people just don't understand their work.
yeah, it kind of links back to the terminology we use in like some council meetings about making things child friendly. It's just about like having things in a way that children, young people would actually understand them, because a young person's not going to sit down and read a 30-page long report. And I understand that you'd probably want them to do that, but let's adapt and let's just make it easy. Instead of saying, no, you should read this 30-page report, just make it easy, because at the end of the day, what's important is that they get the message. So if that's via like an emoji flowchart that they understand that, and I use that example because that's what Youth Partnership Service use for young people that come into their criminal justice system. And like, if that is the way that young people will understand policies, then just use that method.
Yeah.
I'm sure some adults would find that easier than a 30-page
No,
report
absolutely.
as well.
Visual representations are really good. They're even like encouraged in school when it comes to revising.
Exactly.
Draw a little picture, Natasha. I study history, and the amount of timelines I've made is absolutely insane, and I have to draw stick figures, and I suck at drawing. But it's the fact that your brain can easily make connections with that, I guess.
Yeah, I remember when my sister was doing her A-level chemistry, and you know, like that teach someone else to learn yourself technique. She was doing that with me, and at one point I think we were way too deep in, because I became electron shiffer.
Oh.
And it was something about dipole.
I wish I knew what you were speaking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about. It was like benzene rings, carbons, hydrogens, you know, chemistry.
Yeah.
You know. And yeah, so we got really deep into that. But that's a bit off topic, back onto what we were talking about. So it was really useful to have that like session to talk to the police about what we think and how we think stuff could be, I don't know, improved or...
No, absolutely. No, because like it's really important to have communication about that. So maybe you're a listener right now, and I think people should also like take the responsibility to go out and seek knowledge and understanding. I think people nowadays, not everyone, but we're really good at complaining.
Yeah.
We're really good at seeing, oh my goodness, this is not being done. Oh my goodness, I can't see this. Rather than kind of thinking with such a pessimistic mindset, it's actually being like engaging and going out there and trying to learn more.
Yeah, but I think research is also an important aspect of this, because often you'll have people who are complaining about something. They'll just continue complaining that we don't have this, we don't have that. Specifically in Luton, they'll be like, oh, there's no like youth services or stuff like that, for example. Did you actually put it into Google?
Yeah.
Is what I do sometimes.
We're sat in a youth club right now. The only reason that we're speaking to you guys right now is because we're at Diverse FM's youth club, which is called Youth Connect, by the way.
Yes. Like, people complain, but don't... what's the word? Action.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
activate.
like, yeah, exactly. This is just, obviously we're talking about the police, but you should apply this to all aspects of your life, you know? Just because something is going wrong doesn't mean you should just stop yourself and let that limit your mind. Instead, you should actually go out there, learn, educate yourself, and understand, because then you'll actually be able to see that Bedfordshire Police is doing a lot. They're working really hard with young people, with people of all ages, as we've discussed. The Luton Council themselves, they're doing a lot. We look at the 2040 vision, they're doing a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times people kind of lack that, I don't know how to describe it. they kind of lack pragmatism, I guess.
Yeah.
They're not going out there and trying to like seek information, I guess. That's all we're trying to say. It's really important to understand that.
And we're not like promoting or sponsoring Beds Please. We're just saying like they are genuinely trying. And if you know me and Natasha, you know that we're quite blunt when we think something's not good. So like if we're saying we think as young people they are attempting to put an effort in, then I'd say that you take our word for it.
No,
and,
absolutely.
Appreciate that they are putting some effort in.
Yeah.
But then as humans, we've got that kind of thing where we're like, we're never satisfied. We're
But
like, no.
we did give feedback during the session as well on how that community engagement should probably increase. So maybe, obviously, we're being able to be part of a listening circle, but we're part of the youth council.
Yeah.
Other people may not be part of formal organisations. So we are giving feedback, and then hopefully we'll be able to see that feedback being put out there, and then hopefully you guys get more involved with the police and like the work of other local organisations in Luton, I guess.
Yeah, so that's what I quite like. Oh, another thing we also spoke about quite kind of briefly, was just about how a lot of the stuff that we know or that people know about Luton is very passed down and we haven't seen it for ourselves. For example, some wards in Luton, such as Marsh Farm or Lucy Farm, people are like, oh yeah, it's so bad, it's not a good place to live, yibbity yabbada. And then we actually stopped for a minute. We were like, when was the last time you actually went there and
I've
engaged
never
with
gone
the
to
community?
Marsh Farm. I've never gone to
Exactly.
Lucy Farm. Yeah, I've heard this abundance of just like negative.
It's the terrible
feedback.
place, and it's like it actually made me step back for a minute and think, when was the last time I actually engaged with community in Marsh Farm?
Yeah.
For me to then think I have the right to form an opinion on their on them.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we asked the police officer, and he was like, actually, I've met some great people in Marsh Farm. And it makes you think, there are bad people everywhere, but there are good people everywhere, and they shouldn't be getting that backlash just because of where they live.
No, absolutely. Like, don't be complacent because you hear your friends or your co-workers or your family talking about something.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to completely challenge everything you hear, but try to like gain your own understanding before you form such like a mindset, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's why school's always like pushing critical thinking and stuff like that on
Making us do presentations and all of that stuff, which you may think is boring and maybe not your style, but at the end of the day, you kind of need to.
Yeah, it's so important to form your own opinion on things, because the more you just let other people's opinions make yours, the less you're actually, I was going to say forming your own opinion, but then that's not a good sentence.
Especially in the world that we live in right now. I won't discuss politics or anything, but there's a lot of conflict going on. There's a lot of bad things going on in the world right now. This is a time in which, rather than getting complacent with what you hear, it's important that you actually go out there and try to gain your own understanding and try to contribute positively and help the people out there who really need it.
Yeah, to summarize this like section though, there are two sides to every story, and it's important to look at both before you just decide that what the people around you are saying is the correct thing, because perhaps they haven't done their own research, and maybe you could be the person to do your own research and inform them of what's actually going on, what the situation actually is, and where it lies. Now we're gonna go on to some slightly less depressing stuff, but after a short break.
The answer's right there.
Hello!
Oh, I didn't realise we'd started.
We're back. I'm Shifa.
And I'm Natasha.
We're from the Luton Youth Council, and you're listening to us on Diverse FM. Right, we've got stuff to talk about. If you were with us in the first part, you heard about police listening circles and the joy that we had participating in that. That was not a sarcastic comment, yet it sounded kind of sarcastic.
No, it was definitely a good time. Very eye-opening experience.
Yes, and now we're moving on to something that Natasha did not know about until 10 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I kind of forgot what it stands for already.
So, this is something called PPG.
Shifa, would you like to tell us what PPG means for? Because I honestly, whenever I think of PPG, I think of Powerpuff Girls. And if you've watched Love Island USA, you would know like Leah, Serena, and someone else. They're like referred to as PPG. Anyways, I'm going on.
I did not know that had that many
Oh my goodness,
versions.
It's
okay,
fine.
every time I write down the letters PPG, I accidentally write down PPQ because that stands for past paper questions.
Oh my goodness.
And I've written that down in my to-do list so many
Such
times.
a party pooper. Okay, would you actually like to tell us what PPG
Yes,
stands
I
for?
would. It stands for Patient Participation Group. And it's when surgeries kind of have a bunch of people, members from the public, who are with their surgery. And it's a bit kind of like what we did with the police listening circle. What do you like about us? What could we do better? But an additional part to the PPG is that they also kind of tell us about new implementations that are in the surgeries. So, for example, I'm part of my surgery's patient participation group, and every surgery should have one. I've heard every surgery in Luton does have one. I'm not actually sure how people find out about them, because I became part of mine after my doctor saw me doing something youth council related, talking in some conference, and then texted my parents saying, yo, Shifa's kind of cool. It wasn't that colloquial.
So what was your first reaction once you've heard that message, I guess?
I was like, oh, I don't actually know what that is. So I Googled it. And I read the Google AI overview.
Of course. I mean, it's pretty helpful.
Sorry, Planet. And it was just like, oh, it's just a gathered group of people who discuss with the surgery, improvements, what's going well, that kind of thing. And I was like, oh, so it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to say that because I was just going to talk about an exam question again.
Oh my goodness. Stay on topic, please.
On topic. And so I went to the first meeting, which was July last year. The meetings are not that frequent, so I've only had 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like biannual meetings.
How long did they last? Like, is it like an hour of you guys chatting?
Yeah, they're
and
about.
how many people are typically present?
1, 2. I'm trying to like see the room layout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Around 8 in my surgeries. And my surgery's got loads of people in it.
I'd say that's good because, like, on the one hand, I feel like you can have more intimate conversations when it's like a closer group. Would you say that you guys kind of represent the other people well?
I think we do because we're from a range of demographics.
What kind of demographics?
What do you mean? What kind of demographics?
Well, like age, gender, race.
So we've got a variety of races. The age range is quite widespan. So I'm the youngest person in the group. And then
that is how we are. As a Luton Youth Council, a lot of rooms we walk into, we happen to be the youngest.
We're always the youngest in the group. So I was the first young person to join the group. And it's been interesting, although I've got to be honest, I don't really talk much in the meetings. So we had a meeting last week. No, it was on the 7th of May. I just remember that because I had a council meeting directly after and I had to like make it there with the commute. And in that meeting, we were talking about a new system that our surgery is putting in place. And apparently all the Luton surgeries are contributing to this. And it's something called a neighbourhood system. And it's like, what I understood from it is that there's a possibility that if you make like a phone call to the doctor or something like that, then there's a chance that if your surgery is very snowed under, then your call could be transferred to a different surgery and you could be seen by a different doctor who might not be your doctor.
I think that's really good because I feel like in recent times there's a lot of complaints on the operation of the NHS. And a big aspect of that is the long waiting times. So the fact that they're able to kind of transfer them to other surgeries is really helpful.
But then for people like us who might not see a doctor very often, we might be like, yeah, that's fine. You know, they're a medical professional. They can just deal with my problem, get on with it. You know, we assume our file will be transferred so they can see our medical history. But then for someone who might have very regular appointments, it might be like they've built that rapport with their doctor. And then all of a sudden they're going to see a random doctor in a surgery on the other side of Luton. And it's like, oh, you know. And a medical file can only transfer so much. Like, it can transfer data and it can transfer bullet points that the doctor may have written. But, you know, that kind of, like, those tiny things that the doctor would know, your doctor would know, that the new doctor wouldn't. And then I found it quite annoying, especially like being involved in healthcare systems when you have to repeat your story again and again and again. It's really annoying.
I understand. When I was young, I had like really bad like stomach issues and it's something that still hasn't been diagnosed. And I remember having to visit so many different specialists and I was like really young and my mum was there and I was like, can we go home? Can I go McDonald's? And instead I have to explain over and over and over again and they're like, lay on the thingy and then like, you know, I don't know if you've ever had the jelly thing that you rub on your stomach and it's like
ultrasound.
Yeah, that's what it's called, sorry. An ultrasound. Wasn't pregnant, by the way.
Obviously.
They just had to do it. But yeah, no, I completely understand that like that kind of like relationship between a patient and doctor is really important.
Yeah.
So even though that neighborhood scheme would be beneficial in some ways, as I previously discussed, there are kind of some detriments to it too.
Yeah, but overall, I think it's definitely an attempt to reduce waiting times because that is what a lot of people are complaining about right now, and it is very true. Waiting times are very high. But I do believe that NHS are trying hard to reduce that, and that's why they've put this neighbourhood scheme in place. And the thing about like A&E waiting times that we were talking about, and the reason why they're so high is because there seems to be like a miscommunication kind of thing between the hospitals and the surgeries. Something's going wrong where there are things where people could go to the GP rather than going to A&E. So the actual emergency cases are being delayed or not actually being seen, and because of that, people who do need that support are not getting it, and the people whose support could be solved by just going to their GP is not happening.
Yeah. So is that kind of like on the fault of the patient? Are you saying that people kind of need to be more aware of what cases they need to go to the hospital and what cases they need to visit a surgery? Or
I do think education is necessary. Do you remember when we went to, actually we were just talking about this during the break, the Bedford, Luton, Milton Keynes conference, was it?
Yeah.
And they gave us these pharmacy first square shaped things, and it was like, oh, these are the 7 things that you don't even have to go to a hospital, you don't have to go to a GP, you can just go to your pharmacy straight away with these issues and they will help you. Like, something like that is really important, because some of those issues on that list, you think some people might like some people might think, oh, I have to go to the GP or I have to go to the hospital for this issue, when actually they could just go to their pharmacy. And so that education aspect is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what ways do you think people could be more educated, I guess? Because not everyone really wants to pick up a fly and read it.
Yeah. I guess that's part of what the patient participation group is for. It's like, oh, we educate you 8 people, and then you 8 people educate 8 more people.
So we've been educated today, guys.
Yes. So we've educated a bunch of people today about how your surgery systems are working. And do you know about how like loads of surgery, I think it's been like a year now, but we've shifted to applying on the website. Like if you want to see your doctor, do it on the app or the website.
I'm not gonna lie, I have not gone to the GP for a while.
That's
and if
good.
it does happen, it's good. I'm a healthy girl. But usually I just like ask my dad, I'm like, hey, can you book me an appointment? He's like, yeah. And then he makes a phone call and he's like, Friday 4 p.m. And I'm like, cool, I'll show up. That's usually, no, it's really bad though, because taking into consideration we're going to be going to university next year. And I remember going to that
Next year.
Yeah.
But end of next year, not next academic year.
Yeah, next calendar year, not next academic year, because you're still in year 12. But taking that into consideration, we kind of have to get a lot more independent with these things, because even like with the opticians, now that I'm 17, I have to pay for glasses, and it's like, why? I didn't choose to be half blind, but you know.
Yeah, and to be fair, I have actually used the GP booking system. Like, I was booking an appointment for, I'm trying to remember if I was booking it for my mum or my younger sister. It was because I think my mum hadn't fully understood how to use the system, so I was just like, oh, I'm in the train anyway, like I'll just quickly do it. So most surgeries, if not all, have switched to using a website or app, so you don't need to do a phone call anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really, really simple. I feel the app and website have simplified it so much. Thing is that sometimes they can get like 500 requests a day. They showed us the bar chart and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially on Mondays, because they're closed Saturday and Sunday. The surgery is not closed, just I think the surgery might be closed. I don't know what the surgery opening times are.
It's okay, don't worry.
Yeah. I just know that it opens on a Monday and they can get over 500 requests just on a Monday.
Yeah.
And that can be really overwhelming, because then you've got to have a team of doctors who then read every single request and determine your priority.
Yeah.
So the priority levels they do are today, this week, and within the next 2 weeks. Those are the 3 priority levels.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a guarantee you will be seen within the next 2 weeks. And I think that makes things much simpler.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I'm sending this request. I know I'll be seen within the next 2 weeks. And I can just write everything down. And especially for people who might not feel comfortable talking on the phone, it can make it simpler.
Yeah, 100%. Phone calls can be quite intense, because I
Yeah.
know sometimes when we have to book appointments and maybe the GP opens at 9 a.m. and my mum's like, phone ready, 9 a.m., ready to start.
Yeah.
And then you have to go through your whole calendar and they're like, are you free Monday? No. Tuesday? No. It's like a whole system. It's like a whole thing. So I think it's really important that things are kind of moving online, because like we have to like utilize it. I know people like complaining about like the detriments of the internet, and yes,
Yeah.
I can see that, but technological advances are actually helping us in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, it's important to have that like system in place. Another thing that the surgery are doing, and I don't know if this is specific to my surgery or if all the surgeries are doing it. But they also do this kind of, I don't know what they called it, but it was like we work beyond our hours. So if they close at 5, they'll stay open until 6:30 for people who might work a 9 to 5. Because I know someone who was like complaining about that, like, oh, I work a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. That's their opening hours. How am I supposed to get an appointment? So I know that they do like maybe once a month do a Saturday opening for people who might be working 9 to 5. So that's really useful. I think the GP surgeries are trying to do their best to cater to the people, and perhaps this neighbourhood scheme could be beneficial for us. Anyway, we're going to go on a quick break while I try and find the mouse. Oh, I'm using the wrong mouse. That's hilarious.
Yeah, there are actually 2 mouses.
Oh, I'm also still on the wrong mouse. The mouse, oh, there we go. The mouse is working, and I'm going to try and turn this off, guys. I'm trying to manage the system myself today. The mouse is not mousing. Okay. Oh, there we go. I found the play button. Goodbye. We'll see you in a bit.
We love weekends.
Oh, we are Shifa and
Natasha.
from Luton Youth Council.
I just realised you just said we are Shifa and we are Natasha. She is Shifa. I'm Natasha.
Grammar kind of left the chat a while ago.
That's what happens when you take STEM A-levels.
That is true. I've kind of noticed that like my essay writing skills kind of dilapidated after I stopped having weekly English lessons.
No, it's okay. At least like you know the super cool stuff about like physics and stuff.
Super cool. Today we were talking about the possibility of gravity not existing.
But that's interesting. I feel like that's
It
cool.
is interesting.
Okay, but anyways, what are we going to discuss for the last...
The loads of equations that I talked about today.
Pardon?
Basically, we're doing topic 12 in Edexcel A-level physics. So if any of you know, you guys relate. And anyway, in this topic, it's all about gravitational fields. And there, on the formula sheet, we're only given 3 equations. Whereas in the actual calculations, you've got to use about 7. So you have to derive equations from each other to find the equation you actually need to then solve the question.
I wish I knew what you're talking about, but I'm going to nod along. And,
It's just like you put equations inside each other.
right. Well, anyways.
It's called substitution.
Well, anyways, for the last few minutes, we wanted to speak about our future experiences and just like the importance of...
Work experience.
Woo!
So my school run a work experience week, and I've heard many like schools, like sixth forms, do too. So I'm very excited for my work experience. I'm going somewhere in London, so I'm hoping that the train strikes, or I think there are strikes next week, something like that.
Yeah, apparently there are.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't make my journey a bit sad.
Yeah.
Let's not get into the strikes though.
Yeah, that's a whole other subject.
Yeah, that's something to talk about another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
What are you doing during this work experience? If you can just give us a little summary.
so I'm with a university, and I'm in their robotics and electronics lab, and it's 4 days because the employer doesn't work one of the days, and it's not fully clear, to be honest, what I'm going to be doing, but I'm excited for it regardless.
Yeah, is that something you want to work in the future?
Yeah, I'm interested in like electronic and software engineering, so instead of being on this side of the system, being on the other side of this system, making it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So are your school doing a work experience week?
Yeah, we're running it later in June, and I'm interested in studying politics, so I think I'll be working with like a council / an MP in an area near my school. So that should be really exciting.
Exciting.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to gain from this experience?
I think trying to understand whether I like it or not, because I study politics A-level and I really do enjoy it, but that's theory. Going out and talking to people, going out and actually working in the political field is an entire different spectrum. So I hope through this I'll actually be able to understand like whether I want to do it or not, because UCAS is opening soon and everything, and I'll be applying to universities, and I don't really want to go into student debt for a subject I'm not too fond of. So I really want to make sure that I choose, it doesn't necessarily have to be the right subject, because you can do things later on in life, I understand that, but I want to study a subject that I definitely know I'm set on. So throughout this experience I hope I can kind of gain more understanding and decide as to whether I really want to do politics or I want to enter a different field.
Yeah, that thought of like I don't want to spend money on something that I then regret is very important. But then it's like, I also know I'm spending this money and I want to spend it on something that's going to be useful to me.
Course.
Obviously, follow your dreams, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But you need to think about future prospects.
Yeah, if you look at the job market right now for graduates, it's quite tricky.
Yeah.
So I 100% commend people who go out there for their passions, and I 100% push for that. I'm not trying to diminish that. All I'm saying is sometimes we have to take like a more realistic approach. So I hope through taking this work experience maybe to consider as to whether, will this really help me in the future? Will it really, work towards my goals, I guess?
Is it like a feasible career path for me and for what I want in my future?
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of thing. And it's also to kind of understand, like, in my head, electronic and software engineering seems like the perfect job to exist. It looks like the best job ever.
No, absolutely. Because I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I would watch things like Suits or like Legally Blonde, and these people in suits, and they walk through the courtroom and they're like, Your Honor, and then screaming. And that's just not representative
Exactly.
of what a lawyer does. So many careers are misinterpreted throughout the media or just conversations. So work experience ultimately gives you more realistic idea of how the career works.
Yeah, so it just helps you understand, like, well, you've romanticized this career in your head, but is that what it actually is like? Yeah. That kind of thing.
Even the word future, though, we've had a lot of conversations about like UCAS, university and school and whatsoever. It's kind of intimidating sometimes, because I can remember last year when I was doing my GCSEs, just a few years. I was going to say we're doing our SATs, but no, COVID lockdown prevented us from doing that. And just like being young, and then now all of a sudden my parents are like, you're driving, you're going to university, you're living alone next year, you're going to get a job. And it's just a lot of crazy stuff. Is quite intimidating. So
yeah, this was quite popular, I think, on TikTok last year, where it was like, who decided that we had to pass our driving test and go to university and become an adult and get all these legal rights in the same year?
Yeah.
Like, who decided for all of it to happen at 18?
Yeah.
Like, that is one thing I do agree with.
Because it's not really like when you turn 18, a light bulb switches and boom, you're an adult, boom, you're mature, boom, you're ready for life. It's a lot more complex than
These
that.
kind of things, I think, should come in stages. Doing your A-levels, learning how to drive. Like, I had to move my theory test just because I'd booked it too close to my mock exams.
Yeah.
And I wanted to focus on my
taken it
mocks.
yet?
No.
Me neither. I turned 17 in September.
Well, I turned 17 last week.
Oh,
so,
okay.
You're
fine.
I don't have an excuse.
I've been procrastinating for way too long, but
Yeah. What was I saying? I was talking about theory test.
yeah, like when you're 18, having to have a lot of expectations.
Yeah, there's just way too much going on in that 1 year, and it's like, whoa, take a step back. Like,
Yeah.
I thought first year of sixth form is difficult, and now we're moving on to the second. It's
Yeah,
like,
considering I did nearly 10 GCSEs and the workload is less than me doing 3 subjects is absolutely insane.
I know, right? Like, I always used to say to my sister when she was doing her A-levels, oh, you're so lucky, you only have to do 3 subjects. I have to do 10. And she'd be like, you don't know what it's like.
Exactly. And then here we are in sixth form, and it's a lot more difficult. But like, don't be disheartened by it. I think the challenge is what we need. Obviously, we get comfortable sometimes when things are like easy, but at the end of the day, you kind of have to push yourself towards those later stages.
Then a good thing about like progressing throughout your learning or educational journey, if you pursued education beyond 16, is that the subjects you're doing, you chose. So it's like, yeah, you can complain further maths is difficult, but at the end of the day, you chose it.
Yeah.
It's like you had the option and you still picked it. It's like some of my maths teacher often says, she goes, well, you chose to be here. You chose to do A-level maths. If you don't want to do it, then why'd you pick it? So I think that is a good thing about as you progress in qualifications. And then leading back to that university thing, like in university, you can't then complain, really. Obviously, you can complain, oh, there's so much workload, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, out of all the, how many are there, 15,000 courses available, you picked that one. And you still think it's not that good. It's like, so I think that's one good thing that people say, you know.
What are you trying to get out of your work experience then?
Out of my work experience next week, I'm trying to find out if electronic engineering is really what I think it is. Is it, like, from my research, is it actually what it looks like it is? I'm trying to find out what this specific university, what they're currently working on, because I'm considering also attending that university.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know what their current research projects are, because in loads of electronic engineering and just general engineering degrees, in like first and second year, you'd learn a lot of the theory, and then third year, and if you do a master's, then in your fourth year, you're working kind of on research. You're working on the stuff that your professors are researching. So if the professor has a research interest that's similar to yours, then, you know, dilly-dally, you get to do that. You get to work with them. But then if, for example, I'm not very interested in computer architecture, it's quite boring to me.
What is computer architecture?
It's like, you know, architecture of buildings, but then
So
of
it's
a
like
computer.
the blueprint of electronic devices, kind of.
Sort of. It's like central processing unit, motherboard.
I
yibbity
regret
yabbada.
asking.
So it's like the architecture but within a computer. Yeah, so it's boring, in my opinion. But then some professors find that like their biggest interest in the world, hence why they launched an entire research project into it. And then the undergraduates at their university who they are lecturing are then in their 3rd and 4th years going to be supporting them with their research. And it's like, oh, if all the professors are researching something boring like computer architecture, and then I'm going to be very bored in my 3rd and 4th year is basically what I'm saying. So it's important to like look into the optional things of it. Oh, and I've just realized that we have run insanely over time. So sorry, everybody. We're going to get you back onto your wonderful, wonderful music. Thank you so much for listening to us on Diverse FM, and we hope to see you next time. In the meantime, more technical difficulties while I try to get this to work. Goodbye. You have to say bye.
Bye.